What is up, everybody? It is Rob and Donald, and this is Nerding Out Sports. And today we are going to be previewing Week 7, Giants versus Jaguars. Giants looking to go to 6-1 and be the worst 6-1 football team in NFL history. And the Jaguars coming in this one at 2-4. They've lost a few in a row. They're trying to get off the losing schneid. So, Donald, we're on the road. We're riding a high. We won three straight games, back-to-back games where you have won games against teams that nobody thought we would beat. Is this a quote-unquote trap game for the Giants?
I wouldn't necessarily call it that because the Jags are a much better football team this year than last year. They're well coached. They've actually got an NFL offense. Doug Peterson doing a very, very good job. And they look better, but they are inconsistent. But they do have talent on both sides of the ball. So I would say, I think personally we're favorites, just maybe by like a field goal, I personally put it. But it is one of those days where anything can happen. I don't think we're yet good enough to be, overlooking any opponent at all. But they've got a Trevor Lawrence who's basically the hottest quarterback coming out of college in a number of years, and there's I like ETN, I like Christian Kirk, I like a bunch of their guys. I think they're a pretty good team.
Yeah, they got a lot of talent up and down the roster on the offensive side. I mean, they run the ball well with Robinson and ETN, as you mentioned. Trevor Lawrence is always a threat to take off and run. And their receiving threats, they can get the job done. They still got Marvin Jones, Christian Kirk, like you mentioned, and old friend Evan Ingram is going to be
Evan Ingram
taking the field against the Giants for the first time. So that'll be interesting to see what he can do potentially, if anything, against us. We'll see if he can catch the ball or if he still got butterfingers. But that'll be pretty fun to check out. But I do find it interesting that the Jaguars come into this game as the favorites. They're getting 3 points going into this game, at least according to Yahoo.
They're getting 3 points. I would have thought the Giants would be favorites considering they're 5-1, but they are. The Giants have been universally disrespected since week one.
This is true. Going over the Jaguars' schedule, I mean, they had that. They blew out the Chargers, they blew out the Colts, but their last three, they fought tough but lost to the Eagles. They got beat by the Texans. They only scored 6 points. And last week, already finishing their season series with the Colts, losing by just a touchdown. So they fought hard in their last 3 games, which are all losses. And against Philly and Indianapolis, they were really right there until the end. So this is not a team to overlook. I wouldn't call it a trap game, but there are some people out there that are starting to think 5-1, Giants are riding high. The Jaguars are 2-4, so the Giants should win this game easily. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think if we win, it's going to be another dogfight till the very end that we might have to squeak out with another comeback, or maybe we get a late stop with the short lead at the end of the game. I don't think this is going to be a 2-possession win or anything like that. I think it's going to go down to the wire.
Of course, it really speaks to their inconsistency that they struggle against the Texans, but do very well against, for instance, as you mentioned, the Colts. That just shows their inconsistency. So we don't know which Jags are going to show up. That's going to be one of the bigger questions. Is it going to be the one that struggled against the Texans? In which case, we would say that, I feel pretty good about our chances. But if they're firing high, then maybe not. A lot of it comes down to pressuring Trevor Lawrence. I really think that Thibodeau on the edge, Jihad Ward, and our linebacking options, if they can penetrate Dexter Lawrence in the interior, LW in the interior, if they can get the amount of pressure to have Trevor Lawrence on the run a little bit, that's when we stand a really good chance because he is prone to the turnover.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. He does already have 4 on the season, 9 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, and he's got just under. He's going to eclipse 1,400 yards this week because he's got 1,397. But he has been susceptible to losing the football. He has 4 lost fumbles on the season, so a grand total of 8 turnovers. So you are right. They have to dial up the pressure. And we're going to be without Ojulari again, and we are going to be without O'Shane. So we're going to look for a guy like Jihad Ward to keep doing what he's been doing. Kayvon Thibodeau's been getting better every week. Will we see Quincy Roche get some play out there this week? That could be interesting. Who they throw out there and what winks got dialed up. We're coming into this game. The defense is definitely riding high off of those last 2 drives. So we know what needs to be done to win. It's pretty much been more of the same every single week. Is kind of that bend, don't break, keep yourself in it for the first 3.5 quarters, and that's when they really, really need to, the defense dials it up and comes up with the big play. I would expect nothing less this Sunday.
Big test is Daniel Jones. Can he have a serious game where he maybe puts up some big numbers? Not really seen that yet this year. Do you think he gets the shackles taken off and he airs it out a little bit more?
If we were getting one of our receivers back, maybe. I mean, we could see if Wandale maybe gets a little more downfield action. Maybe they try a little bit throwing the ball a little bit deeper against this Jacksonville secondary. It's obvious they didn't want to attack Baltimore too much down the field, so maybe they try that this week. But I don't think they really need to, because what they've been doing with Jones has been working. So kind of those, I don't want to call it dink and dunk kind of plays, but those 5 to 7 yard out routes and just utilizing Saquon out of the backfield as a receiver could work as well. I don't think they need to really shy away from it, but this could be the kind of defense that you maybe take a couple of shots against if you try to throw it deep to a guy like Slayton.
Slayton's definitely playing really well. Now that we're getting him used as the wide receiver 1, I think he's definitely been playing very, very well. And Wandale Robinson had a really good last game.
3 catches and a touchdown. So his first full game of the season, because he only played a few snaps in week 1.
He's definitely – I'm interested to see how he does this week. He certainly played a little bit bigger than his size, which was a good sign for us. And it looks like he's got a really good chemistry with Daniel Jones.
Yeah, which is interesting because he only had, rookie camp and all that and training camp and then preseason, but then he got hurt so quickly and he wasn't able to practice until, just a couple of weeks ago he started to get more involved in practice. But he already, like you just said, already does seem to have a better rapport with Daniel Jones, where we have not seen him get that with a guy like Galladay or even Kadarius Toney, who are both going to be out this week again, which is no surprise. But, I mean, we're just making things work. Marcus Johnson's been good. David Sills here and there. But Daniel Bellinger, he has been an X factor on this offense, and he's going to continue to be that guy, I think, going into this game.
Bellinger's been great. He's looking like a steal of a draft selection.
I love it. I said coming out of the draft, he reminded me so much of Kevin Boss, and going into the season, I thought he was going to play a big role. Kind of had to, because you just had so much uncertainty with the receiving core. And as it has the past few years, these guys keep getting hurt. The tight end becomes an even bigger need to throw the ball to. And Giants quarterbacks, at least our last quarterback, was very good with his tight end. Eli always had a good rapport with the tight end. So I like that Jones is very quickly clicking with Daniel Bellinger. He always seems to find him when he's open, and he catches the ball. I think he's catching 86% of the passes thrown his way. Like, he's catching pretty much everything.
He does just go great hands, big hands. And credit to our scouting department for seeing that he was more than what San Diego State was using him as. They didn't use him as a pass catching tight end, but they obviously saw the skill set in order to use it. And so definitely a credit to the Giants scouting department.
Yeah. I thought this draft was a really good one. And this past week we saw every one of our top, for at least with not counting Cordell Flock because he's been hurt, but Kayvon stepping up. Evan Neal's been getting better and better. Wandale stepped up. Bellinger stepped up. That's 4 of your top 5 picks all playing a significant
Yeah.
role
And
in a
then you
win.
can also name undrafted Timon Fox. I think he's done very well. You could
McFadden's
also
played well.
look at McFadden. You can look at Dane Belton.
He's been hit or miss at times, but overall for a guy that was picked when he was, not too bad at all.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with his work. I think we can be happy with what we're seeing from apart from Cordell Flott, but I never really liked that draft selection from there.
Yeah, he had to play early on, and then he got hurt as well, joining the long list of injured players. So like we mentioned earlier, we know who's out. Unfortunately, no Aziz this week and no O'Shane Zimenez. So you would expect a lot of Kayvon and a lot of Jihad Ward. Should we expect a lot of sacks in this game, or do you think we're going to get more of what we've been getting with maybe like 2 or 3, but just a lot of pressure that can disrupt the quarterback?
That's a good question. I'll need to see it to believe it, but I do think that we might have more than we've had. I'll give you that. I think it'll be a couple more. We're usually getting, 2? I think we can maybe get up to 4.
It would be nice. It'd be nice to see Kayvon maybe get a couple, just to make his just a stat pad a little bit, make it look a little bit better. It's interesting. I looked at a stat, and they showed like the top 3 rookies in terms of pressures, and they didn't show who was 4th, but it's Kayvon Thibodeau, and he has played in like 3 less games than all these guys. So,
wow,
something is going right with Kayvon Thibodeau that a lot of people don't want to mention. He has made an impact in every game he's played since the Dallas game, because he was pretty much a non-factor against Dallas. But since then, he's been getting pressure. He's been batting balls down, doing everything that he possibly can, and obviously had the strip sack last week against Lamar to seal the deal. So he's quickly becoming our go-to guy for a big play on this defense.
Is it the Thibodeau jersey you're wearing today?
This is the one. I don't know if it'll show up. I just got the 5 there. I can put the camera down just a tad.
Bam.
The number 5.
It's looking tight.
I love this thing.
Good, bro. So I've got the injury report. Let's have a look and see. So Tony, obviously out. Hamstring. Galladay, obviously out. Knee. Cordell Flott. Calf. Jason Pinnock, ankle. Zimenez, quad. Limited. Andrew Thomas. John Feliciano. Aziz. And Saquon. I'm not worried about Saquon, but it looks like Aziz is going to be trending towards out. Yeah, so he didn't practice. Galladay, Pinnock, Tony, Zimenez didn't practice. Barkley, Feliciano, Aziz, and Thomas all limited. So, yep. Who do you think is going to make it through? I think Barkley and Feliciano probably should be fine. And Thomas.
Well, yeah, I think those are the 3 guys that we really know for sure are not going to be an issue playing. I think they'll be out there. What is up to Alex, Big Blue in the Bronx? Thank you for popping in. We know who's out, and I think Thomas will be okay. They didn't seem too worried about him. They're just probably taking it very cautiously, because if we lose him, our offensive line is in shambles. Even though when he missed time last week, they did play pretty well. I would wonder, even if Feliciano is healthy, do they roll with Bredesen at center, because he looked really good?
I actually agree with you. I think he actually surprised people. I think he made a couple of impact blocks when we needed him to. I was pretty happy with Bredesen as a fill-in center, but obviously it's not long-term, especially considering we need him at left guard, because Zudu is not ready to play left guard. Not at all.
Yeah. It goes back to the Shane Lemieux injury. I think if he was healthy, we might see a potential switch, because Feliciano has not been very good, where Bredesen in such a short amount of time has already looked a little bit better at the center position.
True. I was surprised. I thought Feliciano was going to be much better than he has been. Yeah, I agree. He's not been great. So let's have a look at this Jags defense. So obviously no sacks or takeaways in the 34-27 loss in week 6. But before the game, they allowed just 16 points per game, which is 4th, while forcing 9 turnovers, which is 5th. They regressed a little bit last week, but in general, they have had a top 10 defense. So it's not going to be easy for us at all.
No, I don't think it will. And it's going to be more of the same. Ride Saquon if you want to win. Get him involved as much as you possibly can. I think you try to use him more in the first half than we did a week ago because I don't think we can afford to play from behind again and expect another comeback victory. This is the kind of team that you want to try to get out ahead of and just keep your foot on the pedal, keep your foot on the gas, and just hopefully not have to worry about another last-second drive to go win a football game. But right. I do think you mentioned it earlier, they should at least attempt a couple of shots downfield. I think this should be the game where they try it out. We'll probably see it. Sure. Yeah, stretch the field more and see. Let's see Wandale a little bit more. He didn't play it for obvious reasons. He didn't play a ton of snaps last week, but I think he'll be involved a lot more because they saw that he can be a weapon. And already, the fact that he was out there playing before Kadarius Toney and producing has his first touchdown in his first real game. So I think they got to utilize him as much as possible, which can open the field for a guy like Slayton on the other side and even Richie James out there.
I agree. That's how you want to do it. So let's also look at other aspects to the team. So Trevor Lawrence, he's been having a pretty solid year. He's been about top 10, and he's certainly been in the top 10 in terms of fantasy production. He's having a very decent year. What do you see from Trevor Lawrence?
He's got a coach that knows how to use him. Urban Meyer is a war criminal, and the fact that they even used him last year was just a disgrace. And Doug Peterson's a good offensive coach. Obviously, we know a lot about him in his days with Philly, and it's just nice to see that there's a coach out there looking out for a number 1 overall pick, for a top pick, and using him the way he should be used. This is a team that's much like the Giants were going into the season, at least. I know we far exceeded expectations already, but Jacksonville's going through a transition. They're not expected to do much this year. And This is really about seeing what weapons work with Trevor Lawrence and knowing that they didn't waste the number 1 overall pick on the guy. And it's still far too early in his career to call him a bust or anything. And we're starting to see that you never do that after one season. He's looked a lot better. Can he turn down the turnovers? Obviously, you can say that for a lot of quarterbacks, but he's been fine.
He's been inconsistent at times, though, because looking at that Texans game, he was 25 of 47 for 286. No touchdowns, 2 picks. So he's shown a proclivity to have a bad game. Obviously, he made up for it in his last start, 28-22, 163 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. So, he's inconsistent, but in general, he's been much better now that he actually has an NFL coaching staff. As you say, Urban Meyer should be arrested. He did that terrible a job.
Yeah, he was brutal. I still can't believe they actually did that. Alex says one of their starting cornerbacks is out, Shaq Griffin. That's interesting. I did not know that. Well, if they're ever going to attack a weakened secondary, this is the week to do it. I would say go after whoever's starting in his place.
The Jacksonville Jags, we'll have a quick look at their injury report. Let's have a look and see. So Shaq Griffin is definitely out. Let's have a look and see. Devon Hamilton hasn't been playing. He's not been practicing at all. Marvin Jones, he was limited all week long. Fatakasu, limited all week long. Jamal Agnew hasn't practiced all week. So
he's out. They're listing him as out. Agnew.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. He's been DNP all week long. Shaq Griffin, 100% is out. Marvin Jones, limited. I'm not quite sure what his status is. So, they've got they're carrying a couple of key injuries, but the others are questionable.
Yeah, I mean, if they're missing key players, which I hate wishing, I don't want to sound like I'm celebrating an injury, but when the key player is out for the other team, you have to try to exploit it. The team has done it against us where we've gone down a guy and they attack the replacement immediately. Alex says Agnew is out. The others are all questionable. Okay. So we'll obviously see which of those questionable players makes the game Sunday and which players maybe don't make the game. But it doesn't change the fact that I do believe this is a game that the Giants should win. And these next 4 games are actually very interesting because after the first 6, I had us at 2-4, and this is the lump that we could have scraped together some wins and maybe come out of it 2-2, 3-1. If we come out of this game 6-1, the expectations just keep rising up and up, right?
Oh, 100%. I mean, we're already in the process of talking about that this team is actually could easily make the playoffs. It's trending in that way. You're 5-1. There's a very favorable schedule. Even the most pessimistic fan could probably easily find 9 wins. And I think you can easily find 10, the most 11 out of it. Because look at the schedule, man. There's Texans,
Seattle,
2 against the Washington Commandos, Seattle. You never know. I mean,
Detroit's
Geno
out
Smith.
there.
Who is this Geno Smith that he's never played like this before? So he's doing really, really well. But apart from that, I don't think they're that great a team. I think they're very beatable. There's some very promising matchups. The only ones that really scare me, of course, are the Eagles and the Cowboys.
Yeah, and I would put Minnesota in that one because I believe it's on the road, and that's towards the end of the season. That could end up being a pretty significant game if the Giants, let's say they come out of these next 4, which is, for the sake of argument, they're 2-2 in these next 4, which wouldn't be ideal, but it would put us at 7-3, which is prime position after the first 10 games to make the playoffs. Minnesota is also 5-1. They're right there. And that could be a big game as a possible playoff preview. Possible. I still think Philly's running away with the NFC right now.
Oh, 100%. Minnesota, I still think obviously they're far more talented than we are, both sides of the ball. But I like our matchup when we use our edge rushers. Hopefully Aziz will be fully fit. X-Man will be fully fit by then. We've got Thibodeau, who will have almost a full year under his belt, knock on wood, and you can see he's getting better week on week. So I think that pressure on Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins doesn't like any kind of pressure at all. He really becomes an inconsistent, struggling quarterback when he's on the run and out of the pocket. So I like that matchup.
I do too. Obviously, it's week 17 that we have to worry about that, so it's still a long ways away. Afghanistan, baby. Oh, yeah. I've seen Afghanistan a lot in chats with Entertainer, with Hub, a lot of different Giants creators. So welcome. Thank you for popping in. Hopefully Saquon continues to do well, but if they come prepared for him, I'm hoping to see Wandale and Darius Slayton step up for us. And that's what we were talking about earlier. Obviously, when you game plan for the Giants, you're going to factor in Saquon. That's the guy you circle on the Giants depth chart. Stop him. Stop 26 if you can. But that's if they do stack the box a lot. That's where you're going to see the Giants do what they've been doing. So some RPOs, some rollouts, some play action, and that's where they can get Wandale and Slayton involved. And I think a lot of Daniel Bellinger as well. So if Saquon is being shadowed pretty much as possible, you're going to see a lot of Wandale and Slayton. I think early on they're going to take some shots. I think if they do, it'll be early in the ballgame.
I would definitely look to use Saquon as much as possible in the first half, and then that'll open up the play action. Try and utilize Saquon. Try and utilize the ground game. That will open up the play action. And Daniel Jones has been much better in the play action this year than he was last year. He's seeing the ball better. He's executing it a lot better. And I think the opportunities will be available downfield. But that's not to say that Jacksonville's defense is good. I've been quite impressed with their defense for the most part.
Yeah, they have a solid team. For a team that's 2-4, they get a lot of credit, I think, in my mind. They're a team that can be, you said, inconsistent at times, but They play tough. I mean, you don't hold, even with an injured quarterback with the Chargers and Herbert, they held them to 10 points. They shut out Indianapolis, and you don't do that on accident. So there's certainly a lot of talent. It's just what team, like you mentioned earlier, which version of them is going to show up. If it's the team that took Los Angeles to town, we're going to have an issue. If it's a team that got beat up and only scored 6 points against the Texans, we should win. So it just matters what team are we going to see, and will being on the road play a factor in this one?
I think one of these weeks, Jacksonville or Seattle, we're going to struggle with. It just depends on which week it is. I've been going back and forth in this. I think Jacksonville's the more difficult matchup. Their defense, with our edge rushers, I like their team. But as I say, they've been inconsistent. So if they play like they did against the Texans, we should beat them up pretty handily. If they play as they did against the Colts, then we'll struggle.
You're absolutely right. Alex says, get him going on screens. The Jaguars, they'll run a ton of screens. The Jaguars do, but they don't necessarily run them very well. They run a lot of screens, but they don't do a great job on them. And Tudo, massive salute to Rob, Donald, Alex, and Afghanistan. A salute to Tudo. Thank you for popping in as usual. Always good to see you. Shall we get into our predictions for the game?
Let's do it. Okay. Let's get our predictions ready.
All right. So try to keep it the same theme as we've been going with every single week. And, of course, in the comments, please, Afghanistan, Tudo, Alex. Of course, we always have Alex's predictions as well. We're going to be starting off. What's the final score?
You first.
Put me on the spot immediately. Okay. All right. I do think you're absolutely right. One of these next two games is probably going to be a loss in there. But I do think that we can beat. I feel a lot more confident going to Jacksonville than I do going to Seattle. So I'm going to say we win this one. It's going to be another close one, 21-17.
Okay. To the G-Men.
Yes.
Okay. Let's get Alex's pick now. While he does that, let's think.
It's difficult.
21-17 is good. Let's go 24 to 21 Giants.
All right. Alex, he said he's changed his tune. He's scared. He hopes he's wrong. 27-23 Jags. This could be the get-right game after losing 3 straight. So Alex has the Jags.
Yeah. If I was to really, really consider deeply, I would probably say that of the 2 weeks, this one's the more difficult. But I think we can surprise them again. 24-21. Let's write it. G-Man all the way. Okay, next prediction.
All right. Daniel Jones. How many passing yards and touchdowns does he finish with?
193 yards. Passing?
Yeah.
For me? 1 touchdown, one touchdown, 1 pick.
All right. Tudo has 23-20 Giants. Okay.
All right, Tudo, I'm writing that down for you, brother.
And
23-20.
Alex has 234 passing yards for Denny Dimes. I'm going to say he gets just over 200. I think he's going to get 210, and you'll have another 2 touchdown day. And I do think he's going to have it has to happen at some point. Well, he had the fumble last week, but I think he has 1 turnover. I think it'll be a pick.
Yep, I agree with that. So we're both agreement on 1 pick. How many TDs?
2.
And okay. Let's see. Next prediction.
Tudo, he does say that DJ is less than 200 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yep, me and Tudo are on the same wavelength.
All right, next prediction. Saquon Barkley, total yards and touchdowns.
Total yards and touchdowns. I think it's going to be a difficult week for him because Jacksonville are pretty solid defensively against the run. But I like him in screens. I like him in the backfield. You can use him in the pass game. I think he's going to make one 40-yard run from a screen. So that'll be 40 yards receiving. So let's say 40. Let's see. 50 yards total receiving. And about, what'd you say? 70 on the ground. So 120 all in.
All right.
All
Alex.
in. And Alex isn't exactly the same way as me. So he had 65. I've got 70. I've got 50 yards receiving. He's got 55. So we basically got exactly the same picks.
And Tudo's got him less than 100 yards. He's comfortable with his same old techniques and obvious 1 TD. So he's going to score, but he's not going to clear 100. Okay. I kind of want to agree with Tudo there, but I do think he'll eclipse 100 in total because I think they're going to use him a lot in the receiving game. So I think he's going to go 107 with a touchdown.
And Rob, you've got 107 and a touchdown. Okay, so we're all pretty similar in many ways.
Right. Who's the leading receiver for our team this week?
Give me Wandale.
Wandale. I was going to take Wandale. I think I picked Marcus Johnson last week. I'm going to take Slayton this week.
I mean, there's not a lot to choose from. It can only really be 3 people: Bellinger, Wandale, or Slayton at this point.
Alex has Wandale as well. He said 55 yards. That says a lot about our receivers.
Which is exactly what I was about to say. Alex, are we thinking the same thoughts? I was about to say 55. That's crazy. Okay. Rob, you've got
I've got Slayton.
Alex, you've got Wandale. Tudo has. Let's get Tudo's prediction on that.
I think he's saying Saquon. He said Saquon's comfortable from his right side, clear and obvious, same old routine all the time. Okay. I mean that's if it's Saquon, that's fine as long as we win the game. I really don't care who the leading receiver is.
Of course not. Of course not. Okay, who gets the first turnover?
I think I've picked Landon Collins in back-to-back games, and he still hasn't played. I really hope he's out there this week. But I'm going to say I think it's going to be a pick from one of the top shutdown corners, Mr. Fabian Moreau. He is balling out this year. I think he gets a pick this week.
Very good point. Do you know he was listed in the top 10 shutdown corners this year?
Yep.
Okay, so Rob Moreau, I like that.
Alex has McKinney with the pick.
Okay. And me. I was going to go. I'm going to go Julian Love.
J. Love had the big one last week. Maybe he gets another one this week.
Okay. And touchdown. Who gets the first touchdown?
Oh, that's right. The first touchdown. Well, I have Danny Dimes throwing for 2, and I have Saquon getting 1. but I think the first is going to come through the air. I think Daniel Jones is going to throw it to the security blanket, the safety net, Daniel Bellinger.
I was going Bellinger too.
Alex has Saquon.
Again, there's not too many options. Bellinger, you're going Saquon. I'm going to go Richie. No, I'm going to go Darius Slayton. Although I bet my first thought was Richie James. It'll be Richie James. I'll go Slayton. And Wandale touchdown. Tudo.
Tudo's got one. Okay. He's got Slayton with maybe one. McKinney versus Ingram. Okay. I mean, look, I don't know who's going to be on Evan Ingram, but he doesn't terrify me the way Mark Andrews did. And Mark Andrews ate us alive, so.
That's right. Andrews is a monster. We don't really have any linebackers in coverage. They're all terrible in coverage. Let's be honest. Okay. Shall we go through our picks from last week?
Yes, let's see who won the week. We've been doing pretty well so far. It's been kind of evenly matched. I took the week by one game over you a week ago, so.
You did. You balled out, man. Okay, here we go. You're already off to a great start because, Rob, you had the Giants beating the Ravens. I had the Ravens. So, Rob is up 1-0. Okay. 49ers against the Falcons. Me and you both had the 49ers.
Yeah.
So, both taking the L there. Jets, Packs.
You picked the Jets, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Nope. Nope. Okay. This is not going well. Pats, Browns. Rob, you had the Patriots. I had the Browns.
W for me.
Rob is off to an excellent start so far.
MH says Scotland stand up. Welcome to MH in the chat. Thank you for popping in.
Thank you, MH. Vikings, Dolphins. We both had the Vikings.
Okay, so that puts me at 3-2, and you get your first W for the week.
Okay. Bucks, Steelers. Both had the Bucks.
Yeah.
Oh, dear God. Bengals, Saints. We both had the Bengals.
All right.
Okay. I think Rob's going to absolutely walk this week. Panthers, Rams. Well, we both had the Rams. So that's a win for us, right?
Yeah.
The Rams suck, but they find a way to win. Okay, Cards, Seahawks. Rob, you had the Cards.
Yeah.
God damn it, I had the Cards as well.
You did. I did not expect that.
Okay. Cowgirls, Eagles. Rob, you had the E-Girls. I had the Cowgirls. I'm having a horrible week. Truly
you are 3
horrible.
and 7.
This is the worst week ever. Okay. Chargers. Game. We both hit the Chargers. Okay, well, at least that's a rare W. Jags, Colts. We both had the Jags. Vikings, Dolphins. Both of the Vikings.
I you already went through that one.
Okay.
I believe we're only missing one game. That's the Bills and Chiefs.
Bills and the Chiefs. Fine. Bills, Chiefs. I had Kansas City. Rob, you had the Bills.
That means I take the W for the week.
By quite a distance. Even my dog is groaning at my L's. So, yeah, that's a horrible week for me. I need to do better. I need to up my game.
You'll have your opportunity because it's time to pick week number 7. Obviously, we just had a game last night. The Cardinals were throttling the Saints, but they ended up coming away with a very close victory, all things considering. We both have the Giants.
Okay, so, yep. Rob and Donald both going with the Giants. Okay, next one.
Got the Falcons and the Bengals, which all of a sudden looks like a pretty interesting game.
Falcons, Bengals. I've been sticking by the Bengals all year long, and I see no reason to change. I'm going Bengals.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I don't know what the heck the Falcons are doing right now, but I just don't know if they can go on the road and beat Cincy, so I'll take the Bengals.
Okay, next.
Got the Lions taking on the Cowboys, and I believe a returning Dak Prescott.
Well, that's to put Dallas's favorites, but you never know, man. Like, the Lions have a very good offense. The Cowboys have a very good defense. All right, Rob, what do you think?
I don't know how Dallas loses this one at home. Could be very high scoring, but I just don't see Dallas losing.
Give me the Lions.
Donald going bold. Look at this. I hope he's right.
Hope he's right, too.
We got the Colts visiting the Titans. Big matchup out there in the AFC South in Tennessee. Titans are favorites by just 2.5 points.
Okay, so Colts, Titans. Who you got?
Titans are playing pretty well. The Colts have been kind of a mixed bag. I think Tennessee takes this one.
Mm-hmm. You're right. The Colts have been a mixed bag. Are they getting back their running back duo?
If Jonathan Taylor's healthy, that would be very interesting. I'm not sure.
Let me check.
Derrick Henry's starting to look like Derrick Henry again.
That's true. They're even utilizing Robert Woods more than they have the last couple of weeks. I do like the Titans. Let me pencil in the Titans unless I hear that Taylor's 100% fully fit. Have you got? Can you check on your?
I will check. Jonathan Taylor. Is he playing? They are playing, according to Ian Rappaport, 4 hours ago. Both Jonathan Taylor and Naheem Hines have cleared concussion protocol. I'm sorry, Hines cleared concussion protocol, and Taylor's coming back from the ankle.
Interesting. Could he have a big game? We ran all over the Titans, remember?
We did.
Fuck it, I'm going to go bold again. Let's go Colts.
We got a matchup here. The Green Bay Packers, who are falling off a cliff thanks to the entire state of New York, will be going to Washington or Maryland to take on the Commandos.
The Commandos really super duper suck. I'm going to go Green Bay.
Yeah, if Green Bay loses this one, they might have to just throw the whole team away.
Exactly. Like, Rodgers is just going to have to retire on the spot.
In what might be, it could be a massive blowout, the Buccaneers head to Carolina to take on the Panthers, who just traded away
Oh
Christian
my
McCaffrey.
God. Give me Carolina.
You're taking Carolina?
No. You almost fell off your freaking seat right there. Give me Dante Foreman, baby. Right.
Yeah, the Bucs should roll over them.
They should. If not, then again, Tom Brady needs to retire.
Needs to go find a new family or whatever he's got to do.
Ooh, cold.
Look, he's 45 years old. The man should have retired already. He came back. He pulled a Favre. Anyway, Browns and Ravens. Ravens trying to bounce back after losing to us.
Okay. Browns, Ravens. Give me Baltimore.
Yeah, I don't know if Lamar is going to lose at home to Cleveland. I'll take the Ravens as well.
Okay.
The 4-2 New York Jets taking on the 2-4 Denver Broncos, who look very, very bad.
Could be the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, I've been picking. I picked them to win against Pittsburgh, and I picked them to lose last week, and they pull off the upset. Broncos are a point favorite, which I still don't think that matters. The Jets should win this one.
Okay. What's Russell Wilson's status?
Is he hurt?
Yep, he was questionable.
The hamstring, right?
I think so. But I don't heard anything that he's in any risk.
Yeah, he was limited in practice today, so not today. Yesterday.
Yeah. Okay. I still think the Jets, yeah, for sure.
Jets are playing really good football.
They are. Credit to them.
A couple of one-win teams, Texans and Raiders out in Vegas.
Oh, boy. The Raiders have been such a disappointment.
Yeah.
But I can't see them being a disappointment this week. They're just too good. Come on. If they can't beat the Texans, then the whole organization need to move to another state.
Well, I think they're going to have to move to another state again because I'm picking the Texans.
Wow. For the first time, Rob goes risky. I like it. Okay.
Seattle Seahawks, our opponent next week, taking on the Chargers out in L.A. Should be a good one. 3-3 versus 4-2.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking the Chargers, but it's not a very far travel for Seattle, and the Chargers don't really have any home field advantage, despite being a good team. Leaning towards the Chargers, but I think I'm going to go Seattle. Yeah, I'm going to take Seattle.
We're going Chargers. Although I have been very disappointed in Herbert this year. He might still be carrying that rib injury, but he's not looked great these last few weeks.
You're right about that. This can be a really good one. Chiefs taking on the Niners. McCaffrey with his new club at home going against Kansas City.
That's such a great matchup because McCaffrey adds an X factor.
Yeah, big weapon. They gave up a lot to get this guy, so I would expect them to use him a lot.
Does that change your thinking?
No, I just don't know if the the Niners are still dealing with some injuries. And Patrick Mahomes is playing at a ridiculous level right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're a little upset they lost last week, so I think they want to take it out on San Francisco.
Yeah. I struggle to see the Chiefs ever losing 2 weeks in a row. I just can't see it. Usually they come out angry whenever they lose. I thought they were a better team than Buffalo for large parts of that game last week. And they probably should have won it if they were being quite honest with themselves. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs too.
All right, we got the 2-4 Steelers on Sunday Night Football visiting Miami to take on the Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa is expected to return, thankfully, because they desperately need it.
Why are they getting primetime, Pittsburgh?
I don't know. They shouldn't. Not with that quarterback situation.
No.
I think Miami takes it. I can't see Tua coming back and losing to Pittsburgh.
Okay. I think you're right. But in the Boys in the Big Apple, I actually went Pittsburgh.
Interesting.
Who's the home team?
Miami.
That puts a wrench in my thoughts.
And knowing Miami weather, it's probably going to be hot and muggy and possibly raining because you can never predict the weather here.
Yeah, with Tua back, but then we don't know what kind of Tua. You know what? My first thought was Pittsburgh. I'm going to go Pittsburgh.
All right. And to wrap up the week, Monday Night Football, Chicago Bears.
Oh no, they're not back on. Are they kidding me?
Back on prime time to take on the New England Patriots in Foxborough.
Whoa! Remind me never to watch that game.
Yeah, I'm gonna tune out. I hope there's some baseball playoffs to watch that night because there's no shot I'm watching the Bears play on prime time.
No.
Give me New England in a landslide.
Give me New England also. That's us.
That is
our picks. That's going to be very fun.
Should be very
to see how we do. We need to work out what our overall record is because, Rob, I think you've been killing it the last couple of weeks.
If I'm not mistaken, we've had 6 weeks. I'm either up by I either have 4 weeks to your 2 or we are tied. We'd have to look back and find out for sure.
Right.
Real quick, do you want to just kind of maybe rapid fire for MH here, some trade targets for the Giants?
Ooh, that's a fun idea. We should definitely maybe do a podcast specifically for that. Okay. How about, well, I know there's going to be a fire sale in Carolina that we know of. I don't think we can afford the salary of DJ Moore.
No.
So he's out of the question. I still think we have a really good shot of signing Odell.
I think I've been saying it because a lot of people have been talking about it. Like, who can we trade for? Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore, who just requested a trade, is a guy that possibly, because he's on a rookie deal.
Yeah,
DJ Moore.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been bringing up different names. We don't have the cap space, and I don't think the Giants want to give up draft capital for somebody right now. And I feel like there's a real possibility Odell could be back. I think Odell returning is more likely than us trading for a receiver.
I agree. There's some other trade targets I would consider. Trey Herndon, and King of the Texans, the corner from the Texans. If we wanted to bring in a one corner, I could maybe see us making a trade with the Texans for King or possibly for Trey Herndon. I believe he plays for the Jags. I would consider they would be pretty good options if we wanted to boost our secondary. Apart from that, Chase Claypool has been mentioned as a possible trade target, but I don't think he's the type that the Giants want in their locker room. Remember that time where the Steelers were on a last-minute drive to score, and then Chase did a celebration which wasted about 40 seconds, and it cost them the game. Remember that?
Yeah.
I don't think he is as locked in on football as Dable and Shane would require. As talented as Claypool is, and I think Claypool will be much better with a quality quarterback like Daniel Jones as opposed to Kenny Pickett or whatever. Well, at the moment, obviously he's better than Kenny Pickett, so that might work. But again, I don't know if he's the personality that would fit in New York right now.
Right. I'm still holding out hope. I don't think it's going to end up happening, but I would probably attempt like a somersault or something or a backflip if we brought Odell back. I miss him so much, and it'd be electric.
Is he kind of talking in
He's trolling us, is what he's
in
doing.
riddles?
Yeah,
he's talking in riddles.
Talking in emoji riddles. Saquon said something about a family reunion earlier, and then Odell said, "Hey, teammate." So he is obviously teasing every single Giants fan. He knows exactly what he's doing. And if he does come back, it's going to be amazing. Imagine, because they don't think he's going to be ready to play until like November. And I'm looking at our schedule. If it was like maybe late November, we could potentially have him in his first game back be against Dallas on the road, or maybe at home against Detroit. Or if they want to wait till December against the Commanders, I think they want to bring him back at home, but I don't know when it could be. But if he does come back, it's going to be special. Because if we are in a playoff push and we bring back and get a healthy Odell Beckham Jr., Giant Stadium's going to be rocking.
It will be rocking. I would say that him and Elijah Moore are the most likely candidates to arrive if we're looking for a receiver. I think it would be wise to look at a receiver if we want to make a certain playoff push.
Certainly. So that should wrap it up for us here, because I know Donald has to go and call the Knicks game. I think he's actually late to that. So I'm going to wrap it up for us here at Nerd Out Sports. Be sure to tune in, though, Sunday afternoon, Giants and Jaguars. Donald and I are going to be calling the game play-by-play. We're going to take our first crack at it, so hopefully we do better than some of these football announcers. So be sure to tune in to us on Sunday afternoon. We're going to have every play, and we're going to talk about the game a little bit afterwards. So for Donald, I'm Rob. This is Nerd Out Sports. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. Thank you for everybody who was in the chat. Tudo, MH, Afghanistan, Alex. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and be sure to pop in for the next one Sunday afternoon. We'll see you all next time. Let's go G-Men. Peace out.
Let's go G-Men. See you guys Sunday.